So Time Out came out with a list of the top 100 greatest sci-fi movies of all time, but of course, it's time for me to check it out. As always, I can give you guys a non-biased, completely objective viewpoint on this so that you can decide whether they're right. And we're just going to be looking at the top 10. In 10th place, we have Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, what I consider to be the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. Even though it's technically more space fantasy than sci-fi, it is the most iconic piece of dialogue probably in movie history. In 9th place, we have The Terminator. Spoiler alert, T2 is not in this list. I feel like if you're going to have a Terminator movie in the top 10, it has to be T2 Judgment Day. Not that this movie's bad, I'm very glad to see it here nonetheless. 8th place, Metropolis. You cannot underestimate how iconic this movie is and how important and influential it has been to the genre of sci-fi. Same goes for 7th place, Brazil. I am very happy to see these two movies on the list. In 6th place, we have Star Wars, the original Star Wars, also known as Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, one of the most iconic movies of all time, and while I do think Empire is better, this movie did kickstart arguably the most iconic franchise in the world. Breaking into the top 5, we have the sci-fi action masterpiece Aliens. I am so happy to see this movie on the list. It absolutely deserves to be in the top 5. In 4th place, we have Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I was not expecting this movie to beat out E.T. to be the best Steven Spielberg sci-fi movie. However, it would be remiss of me to forget quite how impactful this has been on the sci-fi genre. In our top 3, and I am so happy to see this, we have the original Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Sigourney Weaver. This is my favourite sci-fi movie of all time, and one of my favourite movies of all time, period. Honestly, in my list, which is the right list, this would be number 2. In runner-up, we have the original Blade Runner. I don't actually think this movie deserves to be this high. In fact, I think its sequel, 2049, is a far superior movie. However, I have a great deal of respect for this movie and what it accomplished. It's more of a contemplative neo-noir sci-fi thriller with incredibly interesting themes and ideas. And in first place, was it ever a surprise to anyone, we have Stanley Kubrick's 1968 masterpiece, 2001: A Space Odyssey. This movie isn't just the greatest sci-fi movie of all time, it's one of the greatest movies of all time, period. It's a classic, it's iconic, it's influential, it's impactful, it's important. It's the sci-fi movie that every other sci-fi movie is measured up against.